If you can start almost anything but never stay motivated long enough to finish it, there is a reason for that. And it's not what you think. Most of us were taught motivation completely wrong, so we misread every signal our brain sends. The excitement at the start, the dip in the middle, and the moment the spark disappears. Today, I'm exposing those myths, including one that explains almost every failed habit you've ever had. But before we go any further, let's decode what's actually happening in your brain when you start strong and then ghost your own goals. 30-second crash course, what motivation actually is. Motivation isn't feeling inspired or feeling lazy, and it's definitely not a personality trait. Here's a quick version that psychology uses. Extrinsic is I have a deadline tomorrow, and intrinsic, I would do that even if nobody saw. Both matter, both work, and both fail. But here's the part that some people get wrong. They think there are motivated people and unmotivated people. But motivation comes in short bursts and never all the time. And you've experienced that. You watched the motivational video and imagined a whole new life and then took zero action. Or you start a habit laser focused, but then you avoid it like it never existed. It's not inconsistency, it's not a character flaw, it's biology. Motivation naturally sparks with novelty, drops with repetition, and swings with sleep, stress, environment, and identity. It's not designed to stay constant, it's designed to change. And that brings us to the first lie almost everyone believes about motivation. You've heard this your whole life. Do what you love, find your passion. If you really cared, you would be intrinsically motivated. But this one is the biggest misconceptions in psychology. And I don't say this lightly because I wrote my graduation thesis on intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So here's what research actually shows. Intrinsic motivation helps you start. Extrinsic motivation keeps you structured. And environment and identity decide whether you stay or not. So intrinsic isn't better and extrinsic isn't worse. They do entirely different things. When I researched this in my thesis, students who thrived weren't the most inspired. They had meaning and structure. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Learning English was deeply intrinsic for me. I wanted to travel, experience living abroad, be part of global communities, have an international career. Intrinsic motivation gave me spark. But what actually kept me consistent was clear structure, courses and routines, external responsibility, teachers or deadlines, and identity. I need English to live the life I want. So I had intrinsic, extrinsic motivations, and identity. And that's what made English stick. And now I basically live the life that I needed English for: global career, travel, and this YouTube channel. And here's the contrast. I tried learning Spanish the same way, but I had no real structure, no accountability, no real identity tied into that. Just random sparks of interest and the idea that I would love to speak one more language. So I did what most people do. I studied with books, watched some videos, downloaded some apps, but then I slowly slid into doing the easiest task on the app just to keep the streak going. Intrinsic motivation didn't save me. Extrinsic motivation, which was basically the streak in the app, didn't help me. I didn't fail Spanish because I lost intrinsic motivation. I failed it because I didn't build anything around it to keep me going. And that leads us directly to the second lie. If your motivation was real, it would last. That lie quietly destroys people because internal dialogue sounds something like, if I really wanted this, I wouldn't fall off. If my motivation was real, it would not disappear after just 1 week. But motivation is built on novelty, not longevity. When something is new, your brain gives you a dopamine boost. Energy, curiosity, momentum. It feels exciting, light, effortless. And then week 2 hits, dopamine drops, and your brain switches to efficiency mode. Do you actually need this? Is it sustainable? Is it too expensive? And this is exactly the moment when people quit the gym, drop their course, or ghost their own side projects, long before anything is wrong with their goal. If your routine is too heavy, too perfect, too demanding, your brain shuts off the whole system before you even begin. That's exactly what happened when I tried to be a self-taught developer before I started my computer science degree. I kept building the perfect study plans, structured, ambitious. I'd follow them for a few days, then hit something hard or miss one day, and that quietly turned into this course never existed. I didn't have a problem with desire, I genuinely wanted that. But I had a problem with my system. My setup was not built to survive the novelty drop. So if your motivation collapses after a few days or week, there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, your brain is working exactly how it was designed to work. So the question isn't how do I stay motivated forever? It's how do I build something that survives that drop? Discipline solves lack of motivation. Discipline is important, but the way most people think about it is a myth. And if you ever told yourself, I just need more discipline, this part is for you. Most people imagine discipline as force yourself, push harder, try more. But discipline isn't a feeling that you magically wake up with. It's a system that you build. And systems beat try harder every time. But here's the truth. You can't out-discipline bad structure, you can't out-discipline identity mismatch, and you cannot out-discipline environment that is working against you. And most of us are trying to do exactly that. And I've personally lived both versions of it. When I worked in teams with managers, colleagues, and deadlines, I would never miss anything. Why? Because environment, expectations, and my identity all lined up together. I'm a reliable engineer, people are counting on me. But when I became self-employed, deadlines suddenly disappeared. No team, no manager, no pressure. No one is waiting on the other side. And I discovered something that every founder eventually faces. It's incredibly hard to stay consistent when nobody is expecting anything from you. Motivation didn't fix that. Telling myself that I need more discipline didn't fix that. What finally works is something that engineers live by, is that reliability beats ambition. Not heroic effort, but repeatable effort. Not giant leaps, but small, consistent steps. You don't need to become a more disciplined person or reinvent your entire personality. You just need a system that still works on the days when you don't feel like it. This is when motivation finally makes sense. Motivation is not the engine, it's a spark. And sparks are short-lived by design. They're not meant to carry the whole project. But systems keep the engine running long after the spark is gone. If motivation is temporary, unreliable, and full of myths, so what actually keeps me moving? Let's turn everything I've talked about into something that you can use tomorrow morning. Your brain responds to those three levers, not motivation. First, clarity. Your brain doesn't act on inspiration. It acts on specificity. Vague goals like get healthy, learn how to code, or grow YouTube channel, they don't activate motivation. They activate avoidance. Your brain wants to know very concretely, what exactly am I doing? How long is it going to take? What is done looks like today? When your brain has clarity, motivation finally has a place to land. Tomorrow morning, write this one sentence. Today, done looks like. That one line removes 80% of friction. Emotional relevance. Most people think motivation comes from excitement. It doesn't. It comes from emotional relevance, when your goal actually connects to your identity and your future. That's why learning English stuck to me. It tied to travel, career, freedom, and Spanish didn't. It was interesting, but it didn't connect to the person that I was becoming. Your brain doesn't chase cool ideas, it chases personal meanings that's aligned with your values. When your goal doesn't link to those values, your brain drops it the moment that novelty wears off. Tomorrow morning, ask yourself, how does this goal change my life in 1 year? If you can't answer, that's the reason that goal keeps dying. Expectation, not inspiration. If you expect that you succeed, you try. And if you expect that you would fail, you don't, no matter how motivated you feel. Self-teaching computer science to me was so hard because every time I would hit a wall, my expected success would drop. But once I joined computer science school and engineering communities, everything changed. I realized that people like me do that people around me are doing that. And I was borrowing their belief until it became mine. So tomorrow morning, try to work or study around the people that already doing what you want. In person, online, or maybe through a live stream. Clarity gives your brain a starting point. Emotional relevance makes the system worth running. Expectation turns repetition into identity. And identity makes it automatic. If motivation keeps disappearing on you, if you're tired of starting strong and then sleeping, if you're done feeling like every Monday is a reset, then don't stop at understanding why it actually happens. My video, Why You Can't Stay Consistent, shows you the system that actually works when motivation doesn't, including one mistake that quietly ruins most people's routines. Watch that next. And if you want more videos that blend productivity, psychology, and tech, please subscribe and I'll see you next Monday.